Hello, I'm Philip Brunelle, Artistic Director and founder of Vocal Essence and organist choirmaster at Plymouth Congregational Church in Minneapolis. Each day, I've selected a composer who's had a role to play in both organizations, and today it is the wonderful composer Gioachino Rossini, born in 1792 on Feb 29, so we never quite knew how many years he lived, and he died in 1868. He was famed and beloved, and at his funeral in Paris at La Trinité, 4,000 people showed up for the funeral. He composed 39 operas, songs, piano pieces, sacred music, and I have a quote I'm going to read. This is from a magazine that was very popular called The Etude, from the issue of July 1917. I was given many copies of this by Madeline Staupy-Tron, and this one mentions Rossini, and I love this. It says, Rossini was the genial musician. He, unlike most of his fellow craftsmen, believed in the smile and the laugh as potent factors in the accomplishment of great things. He was so genial that he finally developed into a voluptuary, and at the age of 37, he stopped working and devoted the rest of his life to living. But this degeneration into the voluptuary, as the biographers call it, only showed his deep affection for the joy of living. And the result is that he had the distinction of being the man who made opera happy. He was also slightly superstitious in that he hated and feared both Friday and the number 13. He died on Friday, November 13. 1868. So, of course, he had all these operas, and I'm sure that most of us know that when we heard The Lone Ranger, it was because we heard the overture to William Tell, one of the longer operas in history. It's almost 4 hours long. And the other opera that I want to mention, because it had a role to play with Vocal Essence, years ago we did the opera Ragazza Ladra, the thieving magpie, over in St. Paul at the Fitzgerald. And it does call for this character who is seen just as a muted part called the magpie. And it was played, we needed a young person, so we had Fred Kemmer in the tree up there on the stage as the magpie. Well, there are also, of course, some very fun and wonderful songs, and I'm going to call on Maria Jette and Clara Osowski to join me for a duet that is called the Buffo Duet. It's for two cats. Now, it is attributed to Rossini, but the fact is he didn't compose it. It was actually composed by Robert Lucas de Pearsall, who had a pseudonym that he used, and he wrote it based on themes that Rossini had written in his opera Otello. Here is the cat duet.
Meow.
There we have the Cat Duet with Maria Jette and Clara Osowski, music sort of by Rossini. And of course, after he wrote this and after he wrote those 39 operas, he then, which was always one of the mystery to people, for the next 40 years, he didn't compose anything. And we wondered, why is that? No one really knows what caused him to stop composing, but then, near the end of his life, he decided to again start composing. And in 1864, he wrote a wonderful piece that was called Petite Messe Solennelle, Little Solemn Mass. It's a great piece for four soloists and for chorus, and also it needs a piano and a pump organ or harmonium. And I've done it several times, and it's a wonderful piece. Just to give you a little feeling of that, this is the beginning of one of the movements, the quoniam, so you get a sense of it. Very typical kinds of ideas that Rossini did. I want to close this program about Rossini by going back to one of his salon pieces that he wrote. And it's a longer piece, and we're only going to do part of it. But it's an idea that few composers have tackled, but Rossini did. It was an elegy. It was called Elegy on One Note. The text, Adieu à la vie. And what I love about it is that indeed Maria does sing only one note. I can't imagine what happened at the original premiere if the audience was just fascinated that she didn't leave that note. Who knows? But what's also wonderful is there's this long introduction, and then suddenly in comes the soloist to begin singing Adieu. Music of Rossini. Have a wonderful day. I had to part of that piece.